You are listening to Leading the Factory Forward with your host, Lynn Friest. We share interviews with manufacturing experts and strategies for embracing the digital future, recruiting a new workforce, finding new business. Lynn is an advanced manufacturing strategist and leadership consultant who is on a mission to show manufacturing leaders how to improve their current operations while preparing for a digital future. And here's your host, Lynn Friest.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Leading the Factory Forward. This is episode number 95. It's 15 ideas for success in remote work. My goal is always to help you create a compelling future for yourself, your teams, and your organizations. I encourage you to visit my website and download the summary at the bottom of the podcast episode and use that as a tool to capture notes as you explore the concepts in this episode. Or to help you get started on your journey and to stay up to date on new episodes, please download the free worksheet, 3 Steps You Need for a More Productive Workday. Well, in this episode, 95, I'm going to give you 15 things to consider when you're doing remote work in your Encore career. We'll get right started. Number 1, be easy to work with. Always acknowledge what you know and what you don't know, and really be prepared to listen and explore the ideas of other people that you're trying to work with. But you always want to be the easiest person to work with when you're trying to sell yourself and sell your ideas. Number 2, use YouTube. You can start on YouTube search with a question of how do you fill in the blank? And then you just need to get started using YouTube to help you fill in those blanks, especially on tech questions. But it's one of those things, YouTube is a marvelous tool and you should make use of it. Number 3, get a good mic and or headset. You always want to be heard clearly and you want to hear other people clearly as you work remotely. There's nothing worse than having someone whose cat's been chewing on their headset and the sound is all crackly. Be sure you have a good mic and or a good headset. Now, number 4 kind of relates to that. If you're going to have long calls, be sure to use wired headsets. Don't use AirPods or wireless ones because they'll run out of battery, and then that's embarrassing in the middle of the call if all of a sudden you slowly drop out or you have to suddenly go find your wired headsets. Number 5, pay attention to your setup, your lights, your background. Look professional. You're going to be presenting yourself, and the people may or may not know you very well. So you want to have a professional background and a professional look. Don't be just sitting in front of your closet. Do what you can. You don't have to spend a lot of money, but do what you can so that at the very least you have a neutral background and not some kind of cluttered one. Number 6, avoid distractions in your background. Again, if you're with this group of people who are relatively new to you that you don't know, you don't want to have a case where you have a lot of family members walking through the background, the cat's running through. So just be cautious. Sometimes it's okay, and after a whole year of this, people don't get upset. But it's one of those things that I think it sets you apart as a professional if you're new to this particular group. Number 7, I would recommend sitting like you're at the conference table with these people. You don't want to have your laptop on your lap and have people looking up your nose. You want to sit like you're at a conference table, as if you were actually in the meeting with these people. So again, it's the idea of professionalism. You want it held steady so your camera isn't bobbing and waving around. You want this to look professional. Doesn't have to look stiff or formal, but you don't want it to look like you're just lounging in a poolside, something like that. Tip number 8, share documents ahead of time. You want to share them ahead of time because it's often especially important with people who you're not familiar with that they have documents that give them context and background. And sometimes it's hard for them to listen to you speak and then also read the documents at the same time. Now, there's a balance. Obviously, you don't want to give away the punchline of whatever your communication is. But if it would help them to be prepared with some background information, you should think about giving that to them in advance. Number 9, avoid death by PowerPoint. You don't want to have a bunch of slides where you have a bunch of bullet points and all you do is talk through the bullet points. It would really be most useful if you have some kind of pictures or images, but that you don't have just straight text. And this is a thing that can really differentiate you as far as selling yourself to other people, that it does look different. It's not something that they completely, disengage with once they see all kinds of text on the screen, and they're really reading rather than listening to you at that point. Number 10, utilize collaboration tools. Your work needs to be interactive, and you need to be prepared to utilize the chat. And in today's world, there are also whiteboards that are available. You can even sketch things on iPads. So think about the ways you might want to differentiate yourself by making collaboration easier for the people you're working with. And this is, again, an excellent place to use YouTube to help you get started on these ideas. Number 11, make sure you have great internet. Nothing's worse than having your voice slowing to a crawl or freezing altogether. So you want to do what you can to make sure your internet is solid. And sometimes that's as simple as just rebooting your internet connection before the meeting. But if it's an ongoing issue, you probably need to connect with your provider to see if there's something that can be done to make that better. Or go to a location where the internet is more solid. Tip number 12, don't have too many programs running. You may have a lot of stuff working at once on your computer, but all of those things take up memory and processor because a lot of your computer processor is also going to be taken up sending your video, sending your audio. So if you have things that you can shut down so that you're not burning up your computer processor with other unrelated tasks, that could be very useful. Number 13, acknowledge people as you're talking. Especially with remote teams, it really helps to acknowledge people. And often, since you're going to have names showing in the Zoom call, it's really nice to say, "Oh, Susan, thank you for that question." Acknowledge people as they're interacting with you. Again, this I think is really important if it's a group of people you haven't worked with a lot before. Number 14, have a clear introduction for yourself. Now, this is not just a recitation of your resume. When you do an introduction, this may be important for the group to get a better feel for you. So only say a little about yourself, but if you have a story that relates to the work they're asking you to do, try to add an example. So if they say, want you to do something around logistics, you could say, in my career, I had this key issue in logistics I dealt with, and I helped someone overcome this problem. It's just that when you talk about yourself, it's really most useful to have a story about what you've done to help others. And finally, number 15, find a tech mentor. If you're like myself and you're an immigrant to the digital world and didn't grow up with the digital world, you're not going to know everything, and things are changing quickly. So I wouldn't expect you to have all the tech tools completely mastered and nailed down. So you can use the YouTube, I said, but look beyond that. And it could be a younger person who is in an entrepreneurial group in your community, or some of you met online, but look for someone who can be a tech mentor. So as you find specific things you want to do in tech, you won't have to learn to do it all yourself. You can either have someone else actually do it for you maybe, or at least help you step through it so you can learn how to do it for yourself. You're going to have to provide the value, do the presentations, but maybe some prep work or some other technical work can be done by others to assist you. So that's it for the 15 things that I think might be helpful as far as being in an Encore career or in any kind of a remote work situation. So just to quickly recap, we talked about these ideas. Number 1, be easy to work with. Number 2, use YouTube. Number 3, get a good mic or a good headset. Number 4, if you're going to have long calls, use wired headsets. Number 5, pay attention to your setup, your lights, and your background. Again, doesn't have to be fancy, just don't make it distracting. And then number 6, avoid other distractions in your background, like people walking through, your cat walking across the computer. Number 8, share documents ahead of time to give people context. Number 9, avoid death by PowerPoint. Number 10, learn to utilize the collaboration tools that can help stand you out and help you differentiate yourself. Number 11, make sure you have great internet. Number 12, don't have too many other programs running. They're going to eat up the processor capacity that you have. Number 13, acknowledge people. Again, connect with people. Let them connect with you. Number 14, have a clear and focused introduction for yourself, really showing others how you can help them. And number 15, find yourself a tech mentor that will help you get over the hurdle on some of these issues around technology. So that's it for the 15 tips I had. It's a quick episode this time, but again, I just wanted to share these things with you to get you off to a great start. So what's up next? As always, we're going to continue a mix of solo episodes and interviews with experts. Some will be in manufacturing, but also I'll be sharing my thoughts and ideas on becoming a silver entrepreneur or starting an Encore career. And remember, at the same time, for business owners, what I'm exploring as far as Encore Careers, these are people that could help you. So as a business owner, think about these things that people are out there that could help you when they're in their Encore career. And you can also access the replay of the webinar, 4 actions that will jumpstart your Encore career, and a link for that replay will be in the show notes. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.